So we are just out for one of the runs of this week, and in today's video I want to talk you through my current training split because quite a lot of stuff has changed with the split, especially going into this Hyrox prep that I'm doing with Graham Halliday, who's my coach at the moment. So the main sort of difference with training and coach at the moment is that there's a lot less running volume involved, more paces, a lot more bike work, like I was speaking about in the last video, time spent off feet training. So today we've got a 10k race run, so we're going to hit some paces. I had some running earlier on in the week. I've also dropped a bit of weight since we probably last caught up. I'm around 189 pounds now. The last Hyrox I did was 202 pounds, so sort of trying to dial that in as well with the process. And the running I found a lot better now. I'm not getting injured as much. I'm finding that the bike's a lot easier. I'm finding that the sim that I did last week got a really good time on that. So we're going to go and hit the road, hit some runs, put some Ks down this morning, see what times we can clock up, and then just keep fatiguing the legs and see on the field for the rest of the training. I'll speak about the split as we go. The split is not the split, and the reason for that is because every week is just so different at the moment. There's no real consistency with workouts. The only things that are consistent is that we change the intensity or we change the training volume. The intensity basically being what my perceived effort is, or RPE, or going off heart rates. That's varying each week. And the other thing that we change every now and again is volume. So either the amount of miles I'm covering each week, or the amount of weight lifted, or the duration of the sessions. So the variance in that has been really useful, just to keep mainly training enjoyable again. Some of the sessions though with Graham, he's like the volume king, so I've had some sessions recently which like I've clocked 2 hours 20, and that's just gym work. So I feel like preparing myself for Hyrox now, I've got the capacity, I've got the engine to make sure I can last a full workout. The other thing with training and the split that I'm following at the moment is, I think this is the first time I've been nervous about going into workouts. Like when I used to do the bodybuilding stuff, and the split was just, you know, push-pull legs, or I had a bro split, I'd never be worried about going for a session even though I'd work hard, but I genuinely feel nervous going in for some of the sessions, which is kind of nice, but then also you have to really gear yourself up for the workouts to get into a headspace where you're ready to rock and roll. Otherwise you just know you're wasting a session, especially when you've got dates coming up for comps and stuff. And that's why I think sometimes the other thing I have to feed back with a coach now as well is like auto-regulation of how my body's actually feeling, because sometimes you just feel like so beat up after sessions. And the thing with Hyrox is, well, Hyrox or hybrid training is you're always running under fatigue. And that's why I was made it with one of my runs this week, where I did like a 30-40 minute leg workout into a 10k run, and did the 10k in 38 minutes, which is probably like PB for me on tired legs. So I think a lot of the stuff with the split is just always being in pain, which is nice. And always, the other thing which probably doesn't sound too nice is always being sweaty. Like you just always finishing workouts absolutely soaked. So the washing bill's high and you just constantly smell like shit. So today we're just working on some strength stuff, and this is about the only real strength session I have each week. It's about 50 minutes long at the moment, and this is where it's important to figure out what type of athlete you are. For me, I'm a slightly bigger guy. I don't need to prioritize strength and size as much, just because that's my background, that's my base. My weakness for me is my running, and this is where you need to be evaluating your split and how you're prioritizing your time, because if you can rip a 200 kilo deadlift, then you probably need to work on or spend more of your time bringing down your 10k time. And if you're a 10k runner, can run like a 34 minute 10k, then you probably need to work on more of your deadlift, more lifting. And that's the simplest way, is to keep it basic and to focus on the things that you know are gonna slow you down as an athlete, or slow you down if you're doing a Hyrox. And this is the part as well where I know for a lot of people who are probably watching this, I think they've got bored of the strength training, or they got bored of the gym work. And strength training can become boring if it doesn't have a purpose. And today we're doing a bit of plyometrics, we're doing some strength stuff, we're doing low rep range stuff, we're doing high rep range stuff for reasons. And there needs to be a set purpose for your strength sessions. You can't just be going and do a bit of lifting because you're going to be bored doing it. And there's a really nice quote that I've laid out here, I've stolen from Rick Warren: without purpose, life is motion without meaning, activity without direction, and event without reason. Without a purpose, life is trivial, petty, and pointless. And it's the same with training. If it doesn't have direction, if it doesn't have a purpose or a goal, then you're going to get bored of it and you're going to lose hope. So the other thing with strength training at the moment is there's a lot of supersets. So today's workout we start with bench, with plyo push-ups, then we had some like farmers carries, rows, roll out, just had some pull-ups with press and some more core work. So strength isn't super high because there's a lot of volume even with the strength stuff. But before this, for me to get my strength up, I did do a 10-week strength block, which is a 5-3-1 method. It's one of the programs that's actually on the MyCoach app as well, if you want to check it out. I was literally just cycling and doing that. My strength got really good. Again, gave me purpose in my sessions because I was doing percentage work where I was measuring everything. Stops me coming in and just fucking around. So that's been good. And then the obvious other thing is that if you're just doing running or not prioritizing some of the strength work, then it may potentially lead to injury as well. So make sure even if your priority is running, you're getting the strength work in just so you don't end up on the sidelines like me. And also the other benefit is you get absolutely stacked. Like, you can still say fairly jacked doing Hyrox, just not be the best of it, but you want to look sexy whilst running around as well. How should you design your training block? Hyrox, maybe if you're new to it, or you're looking at setting up a new base and you're at week 1 and you've maybe got Hyrox at 12 to 14 weeks. So this is the way that I like to break up. It's really simple. I hope you guys can see this okay, but basically we've got a week 1 to week 5, and this is what kind of week 1 to week 5 would look like for me. It'd be maybe 1 to 2 strength sessions per week. That could be lower upper, it could be 2 full body sessions, 2 runs. I'd usually do 1 easy, 1 very pace, 1 interval, just so we can get a bit of variance in the pace and the heart rate zones. Maybe 1 to 2 bike sessions per week. We spoke about off-feet training last week, and also this week I'm doing more bike work because for me, putting a lot of miles through the legs just running, especially from the zone 2 stuff that I don't need to do, is what's led to injuries for me, so I find bike really good. And then lastly, 1 to 2 Hyrox sessions per week. The way that I've kind of looked at this and split it down is that maybe on Monday, you'll do a run. That could be an easy pace run. Tuesday, we could do a strength session. That could be lower session. Wednesday, we'll do a Hyrox specific session where we're gonna work on Hyrox specific work, stations, build up. Then we could do another run on Thursday, which could be a varied pace run or an interval run or a tempo run, something that's a little bit quicker and practicing running at race paces. Again, we could just switch it up and go straight back into another strength session on the Friday or the Hyrox session on the Sunday, and then on the Saturday and Sunday we can do something like bike work. So we might want to either do an active recovery day and just flush the legs out, do something nice and easy at zone 2. And this is important as well, by the way, with the zone 2 stuff on the bike, because if you look at the cyclists from the Tour de France, most of them are doing 80 to 90% of their stuff zone 2. So really slow. I think the thing that a lot of people get wrong with Hyrox work is that they go too hard all the time. We either need to go super easy and volume, we need to go super hard and intense. And this is where this volume intensity ties in as well. The reason why this is here is because when you're programming some weeks, it's maybe important to think simply about volume versus intensity. And for me this week there's been a lot of volume, so more mileage on the bike and more running, but the intensity's dropped and working in zone 2, zone 3, whereas the week before was shorter workouts, was doing some which were like 50-60 minutes, but the intensity was a lot higher and doing more stuff at higher heart rates, doing more stuff at threshold, doing more stuff around race pace for Hyrox. And it's important that you vary those two and you aren't just solely focused on one, because it's important you get a good mixture. The other thing that we can do though with the run is we might even want to drop one of the runs out. If you're someone who's newer to running, we might do a bike on the Monday and a bike on the Sunday, and we have 2 bikes and 1 run. So you've got to find what works for you and where you're at in terms of scaling your running volume. Or you might do a brick session on the Monday. I've been doing like a lot of brick sessions at the moment, so I might do a 30-minute bike into a 30-minute run, which is actually really good for Hyrox because we're practicing running under fatigue. We've got those heavy legs, a lot of lactic build up from the bike, and then we're going into the run, which simulates Hyrox very well. If you are new to Hyrox, practice and play around with this setup that if you want in the first 1 to 5 weeks, and then what I'll probably speak about in a couple of weeks time is what maybe week 6 to 12 would look like, where we're probably going to drop a strength session out and maybe add in another Hyrox session, so that we've got 2 to 3 Hyrox sessions per week, 1 strength, and then we might include some more running in those Hyrox sessions themselves, so that also increases running volume for the weeks ahead. But this is the way that I would set up for week 1 to week 5. So I'm just doing a quick stroll to get warmed up for the second session of today, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was useful. Hopefully me spitting the shit and just talking a little bit about training and my training splitting, hopefully the end of it has worked for you guys in terms of finding something that might work for you. But if you didn't, just ignore everything I've said. But please drop the video a like if you found it useful, helpful, and subscribe if you're new to the channel.